The war in Ukraine is forcing countries across Europe to reconsider doing business with Russia. Now, it comes at a time when Moscow's most powerful ally, China, continues to expand its economic interests across European countries. But there are allegations of worker exploitation, environmental damage, and so-called debt traps, where Beijing has stepped in to lend billions of dollars. China denies the accusations and insists it's a reliable partner and that offers investment where others are unwilling. Our Europe correspondent Nick Beek has visited key Chinese projects across the Balkans and southern Europe and has this special report.
It's an unmistakably Chinese scene, from the workers to the offices. Beijing is pouring money into this copper mine, hoping it's a golden gateway to further economic expansion. But this is not China, it's Serbia, on the edge of the EU, where the red of the Communist Party is leaving its mark.
The Chinese company treats us terribly.
We tracked down this Vietnamese man who said he'd paid $1,600 to come here for a construction job.
They forced us to work more, but they did not provide enough supplies. There are 20 or 30 workers living together in each container. They treat us like slaves.
After half a year, the father of three tried to leave, but was stranded. Shortly after we met, he did manage to return home, only after taking a $2,000 loan. This is the Linglong tire factory where he worked. Employment contracts we've seen appear to be copied and pasted from the Middle East. If you're caught stealing, your hand is chopped off. If you were to murder someone, you're beheaded. The company didn't respond to the various allegations made against them.
This is the most visible case of labor exploitation we had in the country so far.
Human rights groups say it's a warning as Chinese business expands further into Europe.
If you're actually having Chinese companies coming to other countries and not having institutions who are strong enough to prevent human rights violations or labor standards violations or any other violations, you will have probably the race to the bottom with other companies.
From Serbia to neighbouring Croatia, this former Yugoslav country is now part of the European Union, and the EU is paying for its biggest infrastructure project, the Pelješac Bridge. But it's Beijing built, down to the last bolt. The tender from the Chinese state-owned company was 20% cheaper than its nearest competitor. European rivals called foul, but couldn't stop the deal. Croatia and all other European countries face a delicate balancing act in dealing with Beijing. Concerns remain over alleged debt traps, cybersecurity, not to mention human rights. But there's a general reluctance to side exclusively with the United States and to reject all future Chinese investment and big infrastructure projects.
So in Croatia, we don't have fears about Chinese influence.
This academic argues if European governments are smart and selective, they can benefit from partnership with Beijing.
So if we exclude critical technologies, if we cooperate on physical things like, railways, infrastructure projects, I don't think that there is much problem in satisfying both the EU, NATO, US and China.
We asked 5 Chinese ambassadors in Europe for an interview about Beijing's vision for the continent, but none was available. But European countries are reassessing doing business with Beijing, which has failed to condemn ally Russia's attack on Ukraine. It could mean Europe watching more big Chinese investment opportunities pass by. Nick Beek, BBC News, Croatia.